A high-stakes summit between President Trump and China's Xi Jinping has commenced, raising questions about global trade, security, and diplomacy. What are the implications of this meeting, and how could it reshape international relations? Let's explore the details. As the summit unfolds, several potential scenarios could emerge that will significantly influence U.S.-China relations. A breakthrough agreement on trade between President Trump and President Xi could ease ongoing tensions and stabilize financial markets worldwide in the short term. Such a successful outcome would likely foster renewed investor confidence, resulting in a positive ripple effect across various sectors, from technology to agriculture. Historically, trade relations between the U.S. and China have been fraught with challenges marked by tariffs and accusations of unfair practices. Conversely, failure to reach a compromise could lead to an escalation of tariffs and retaliatory measures, further straining the already tenuous economic ties between these two global giants. This situation is particularly concerning as both economies are crucial players in the global market, accounting for nearly 40% of the world's GDP. Experts predict that if no significant progress is made by the end of the summit, both leaders may face increased domestic pressure from their respective political bases. This pressure could lead to further confrontations in international arenas, complicating critical issues such as climate change and security. The ramifications of a stalled dialogue extend beyond trade, potentially affecting global alliances and economic stability. The interconnectedness of global markets means that uncertainty in U.S.-China relations can have cascading effects internationally. In the coming days, we will be closely monitoring official statements and joint press conferences that may signal the outcome of these high-stakes discussions. Additionally, the reactions from global markets will provide insight into the perceived success of this summit. The decisions made here could reshape the landscape of global diplomacy and trade, as both leaders must navigate the fine line between cooperation and confrontation. It is imperative for both nations to find common ground to ensure a more stable and prosperous future. The backdrop to today's summit is a long and complicated history of U.S.-China relations, marked by economic competition and military posturing. Tensions escalated significantly in 2018 when the U.S. imposed tariffs on Chinese goods, igniting a trade war that reverberated across global markets. These tariffs, aimed at reducing the trade deficit and addressing intellectual property theft, spurred a tit-for-tat exchange of tariffs and sanctions, leading to increased costs for consumers and businesses worldwide. The COVID-19 pandemic further strained relations, with blame directed at China for the outbreak and its initial handling of the crisis, fueling anti-China sentiments in the U.S. Additionally, China's increasing military presence in the South China Sea, coupled with its assertive stance on Taiwan, has raised alarms in Washington and among U.S. allies in the region, complicating diplomatic efforts. Past summits have seen both leaders attempt to find common ground, yet progress has often been undermined by domestic pressures and hardline policies from both sides. The Trump administration consistently portrayed China as a strategic competitor, while Xi Jinping aims to bolster China's global standing and influence through initiatives like the Belt and Road Initiative. The impact of these dynamics has been profound, leading to a reevaluation of trade partnerships and security alliances across Asia and beyond, as nations seek to navigate an increasingly polarized landscape. As we look ahead, the outcomes of this summit could redefine the trajectory of U.S.-China relations for years to come. The decisions made here will shape not only bilateral ties, but also global economic stability and security frameworks. With both nations at a crossroads, constructive dialogue and strategic cooperation could pave the way for a more balanced approach to their complex interdependence, fostering a more stable international environment. The recent summit between President Trump and President Xi Jinping has far-reaching implications for the global economy. The two leaders met to address ongoing trade tensions that have escalated over the past few years. Trade between the United States and China, which exceeds $600 billion annually, has been under strain due to ongoing tariff disputes. These tariffs have disrupted established supply chains and led to increased prices for consumers and businesses alike. Key industries, particularly technology and agriculture, are feeling the brunt of these tensions. U.S. farmers, for instance, have reported significant losses as retaliatory tariffs have made their exports less competitive in the Chinese market, causing many to rethink their business strategies. If President Trump's proposal to suspend these tariffs gains traction, it could provide a temporary respite from the escalating trade war, potentially leading to a stabilization of markets that have been volatile in recent months. The political stakes are high for both leaders as well. For Trump, this summit serves as an opportunity to demonstrate his negotiating skills to his electoral base, especially as the 2024 presidential elections loom closer. He aims to showcase his ability to secure favorable terms that could bolster his economic agenda. Meanwhile, Xi is keen to position China as a formidable player in a multipolar world, asserting its influence over global trade and diplomacy. The average consumer should pay attention to this summit, as its outcomes could directly impact their wallets. Price fluctuations on everyday goods, from electronics to groceries, hinge on the decisions made during these discussions. Furthermore, the diplomatic relationships forged at this summit will likely influence international alliances, security strategies, and economic policies for years to come. Looking ahead, the potential for a thaw in U.S.-China relations could lead to renewed cooperation on global challenges such as climate change and public health. However, the path forward is fraught with uncertainty. The long-term effects of this summit will depend heavily on the willingness of both leaders to compromise and work towards a mutually beneficial agreement. As negotiations unfold, specific outcomes could reshape global economic dynamics and redefine international partnerships. On May 13, 2026, President Donald Trump arrived in Beijing for a critical summit with Chinese President Xi Jinping. The meeting began at 10 a.m. local time at the Great Hall of the People. High on the agenda were contentious issues such as trade tariffs, military tensions in the Taiwan Strait, and Iran's influence in the region. These topics reflect the complex web of challenges facing both nations. The summit comes amid escalating economic and geopolitical tensions, with both leaders under pressure to deliver results. Trump, facing challenges from within his party, seeks to present a strong front on international issues. Meanwhile, Xi, grappling with economic slowdowns and rising public dissent, aims to stabilize China's global position and shore up national unity. The most shocking moment occurred when Trump suggested a radical approach to trade negotiations, proposing a temporary suspension of tariffs on Chinese goods to foster goodwill. This marks a significant shift from his previous hardline stance, illustrating a newfound willingness to engage in compromise. Unlike past summits, which often ended with vague agreements, this meeting is characterized by specific demands and an atmosphere of urgency, reflecting a more confrontational global landscape. The implications of this summit extend beyond immediate trade concerns. A potential thaw in U.S.-China relations could reshape global markets, impacting everything from supply chains to consumer prices. Economists are closely monitoring how these discussions may influence inflation rates and economic growth in both countries. The military tensions in the Taiwan Strait, a flashpoint for conflict, also loom large over these negotiations. A failure to address these concerns could exacerbate regional instability, drawing in allies and adversaries alike. Looking ahead, the outcomes of this summit will play a pivotal role in shaping international relations. Analysts suggest that if Trump and Xi can reach a framework for cooperation, it may signal a shift towards a more collaborative approach in addressing global challenges. Both leaders will need to navigate domestic pressures while attempting to forge a new path forward. The next steps will be crucial in determining whether this summit marks a turning point in U.S.-China relations or simply another chapter in a long-standing rivalry. As we ponder the outcomes of the Trump-Xi summit, what do you think will be the lasting impact on global diplomacy and trade? Share your predictions in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for our daily deep dives.